Throughout his 11-year career, Draymond Green has become the NBA's most fascinating villain. And the sport is littered with these villains. And guys make a career out of being that kind of player. But it's not the tough guy that it used to be when you were an enforcer. Now it's more theatrical. And you've got that going on with the Memphis Grizzlies. And you certainly have that with Draymond Green. Draymond Green is more WWE. Dennis Rodman was not that kind of player. He wasn't a dirty player. He was a very, very smart player. His job was to get into your head. But he didn't have to do it in a theatrical way, the way Draymond has done. And we mentioned this yesterday because I'm going to factor in his priors, suspensions, technicals, his antics, factor in the commissioner was actually at the game, and also I think he was going to be suspended if they were going to suspend him because of what happened after the play, the theatrics, what he was doing to the crowd. And he was not apologetic whatsoever. And I think if he had handled it differently, but he can't. If he had handled it differently instead of in a selfish manner and just said, after the game, once you got ejected, you go. You talk to the media. Look, my bad. And you're 11 years into this role. You're 11 years into your NBA career. Draymond is not changing because he's going to have a career after this. You know, he's already got his podcast. He'll fill in sometimes on TNT. He'll probably do WWE. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but he doesn't know what he's doing when he's on the floor because the NBA could have fined him $50,000. Well, that doesn't hurt the Warriors. Suspending Draymond hurts the Warriors. So now it's on his teammates. It's on Steph and Clay, Steve Kerr. Like, this is now hurting you guys. And I think if he had just had the one tap to Sabonis, then maybe he wouldn't have been suspended. You come back from he went back for seconds. He did a double tap there. Okay, you might be suspended. You're going to be fined. But then you had the theatrics. And the commissioner's watching this. So he's watching this in real time, right in front of him. And probably thinking, Draymond, get off the floor. Get off the floor. Now I have to do something here. I didn't think he was going to be suspended. But the commissioner probably had to factor in everything that Draymond has done. I think it was more egregious, the way he acted after the play. I mean, where is Steve Kerr or Steph Curry? They enabled him. Grab him. He's your teammate. Is Draymond not going to listen to Steph Curry, Klay Thompson? I mean, they think it's funny. Oh, that's Draymond being Draymond. Well, you go to game 3 without him? Yeah, Marv.
I think they're so used to it because remember the Jordan Poole incident where you could see them yelling at one another. Steph Curry is just looking away, and he seems like he's just very used to it. So he doesn't even say anything. He doesn't even turn his head.
I know that this has been brought up and will continue to be brought up, but you go back to the 2016 NBA Finals. The Cavs were down 3-1 against Golden State, and Draymond got suspended. And then, of course, the Cavs came back and won that Kyrie's big shot. Now, he has helped them win 4 titles. They could have moved on from him a couple of years ago. They know what they have. I mean, he's a necessary evil. He's the kind of player where you go, do I want him on my team? Yeah. Do I want to play against him? No. Now, I don't want him on my team, certainly now at this age. But, when he was 28, 27, 26, he was a very, very valuable player for this team. And here they are defending champs. But when you start the season punching a teammate, and now here we are. Like at some point you have to say, you're your own worst enemy, but who's helping him here? Who's grabbing him and saying, Draymond, you're not irreplaceable anymore. He's got one more year left on his deal. Do you want to bring him in at a big salary here? And the answer is you don't. But here we are in the moment. He's been suspended a game, and now you're the Sacramento Kings. Now you got him backed up a little bit here. Do I expect Golden State to win in Game 3? I do. But let's make no mistake about what the Sacramento Kings have done the first two games. They're the ones that had the composure. And we wondered about them playing defense. They played defense. Just ask Steph Curry. They played defense. They're going to score. I'm assuming Sabonis is going to play. I don't know what the x-rays showed on his contusion.
Off his deathbed?
A bruised sternum. But, yeah, it's one of those in a vacuum. You look at it and you go, okay, is it that big a deal? But then, you start to expand the mushroom cloud here and you go, it is. I think the conduct detrimental to the game is what cost Draymond. His priors and then how he acted afterwards. But I got to put some blame on Steve Kerr and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. It may seem funny. He's our agitator. He's our energizing bunny. But this is costing you. And that's why suspending him hurts Golden State. Fining him $50,000 doesn't hurt Golden State. It doesn't even hurt Draymond. Because Draymond got a lot of publicity. And I think the NBA probably said, if we're going to go at him, then we got to hurt the Golden State Warriors. Because that, to me, it starts to become a team on display there. What you did and what you didn't do. We saw Draymond. There's a moment where Draymond is yelling to the crowd. Steve Kerr has his head down in the huddle, trying to talk to his team. Got to start somewhere. Draymond's not changing. Steve Kerr, who played with Dennis Rodman, knows better. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Yeah, it might be funny, but you're riling up them, and you were still in the game. And look, it was still close the final 7 minutes. But, in that moment, you're down 4, technical on Sabonis. If Draymond acts mature for a change, Steph hits the free throw, you're down 3. Now, all of a sudden, you got a little bit of momentum. I think you took away whatever that momentum was going to be. Even though Golden State did come back, I think they might have taken the lead by 1. But now you go back home and you don't have Draymond there. Yeah, Paul.
Do you think Steve Kerr thinks kind of the opposite that we do? Like, I'm just going to let this play out like I do with everything with this team, with injuries, with Steph, when he has an ankle. Relax, nothing's a big deal. Even this, I'll just let him vent for a couple minutes. We'll win game 3 with a backup. It seems like Steve Kerr realizes I'm in on this guy, and I've been in on him since he was 23 years old. Might as well just let it play out because it's always worked. That's the only reason I could think where he wouldn't step in.
But this hurts your team.
I don't know if he thinks that. I think he knows his bench players like, great, I get 25 more minutes. We'll wrap up game 3, and Draymond comes back. When he came back last year, remember he got in trouble? And
yeah, because I was very critical of him the first 2 games against the Celtics because he was embarrassing himself. He was falling all over, Jason Tatum, and I'm going, just play basketball. You're still a very, very good basketball player. But he got caught up in the whole theatrics, and sometimes when you can't play at a high level anymore, then you try to do stupid stuff like that. And I was disappointed in him last year, those first couple of games. And then he came back, and then he just played basketball. But the commissioner's watching that, Draymond forced his hand. Didn't agree that I didn't think he was going to be suspended. And didn't think he should be suspended. For what happened with Sabonis, it's the other stuff. And you sit him down for a game. And maybe Golden State survives this. But you can't this is a first-round matchup. It's not like you go, yeah, we survived. Okay, but when you get to that point where you're playing quality teams, or, it's Cleveland, and we're up 3-1, and I'm having fun, and I'm going to, you're going to suspend me for a game. Okay, we're up 3-1. Now we're up 3-2. Now we're tied at 3-3. Now we just lost. Not so funny anymore. And I think that's what Steph and Klay have to realize. You're not as good as you guys were last year. You don't have somebody who's going to be able to come in there and take his place. And just having his presence there. I mean, he's really very smart, which is strange to say, to have a high basketball IQ and then do these things. Yeah, Paul.
I guess that's what bothers me about his situation is there was no upside to what he did the other night. He wasn't like doing a hip check to send a message or a sneaky little play with some upside. There was nothing but downside for him to stomp on someone.
Yeah, if this is a game where it's late and you want to send a message
Right.
and you're being blown out, like, all right, hey, we'll see you in San Francisco, whatever it might be. I understand sometimes that you can kickstart your team, but your team was already kickstarted. You guys were guilty of 20 turnovers. I mean, you were losing this game, and you could have won this game. Yes, Eden.
I was going to throw up for a poll question, just what got Draymond suspended, the foul or the antics after? Do I have to put in or everything else he's done too?
Well, the priors go in. The NBA said that they've had to factor in. I mean, if you get pulled over for speeding 5 times and then I get you the 6th time, you can't go, gosh, I never speed.
Does it work that way? Like if you get a speeding ticket, if you get like 3 in a year, do they raise the price on you because you've got priors?
I don't know if they take you to jail after a while.
It definitely happens for other things.
Yes, it does.
Like if you have priors, it definitely ratchets up the punishments.
Yes. Yeah. And I know, I talked to somebody in the league office yesterday, and I said, is that fair to do that can't you do it isolated? And they said, no, because you have to factor in, is this habitual was the word that was used. And I said, well, it is habitual for him. Yes, Todd, you were going to say?
Imagine if they did that with other aspects of the law. It's my first armed robbery. What? I'm not that kind of guy. Just today, I felt someone pissed me off, and I just decided to go do that.
Thank you, Todd.
I'm not going to do it again.
So what's how do you want to phrase the poll question, Seton?
I think I'm going to just keep it with the foul or the antics after.
Okay. The foul or everything after?
Everything else.
Yeah.
Good grief.
I mean, he put on that's a show. That was a one-man show. And after a while, you're going, okay, I think, all right, now it's time to leave. Nope.
That arena's there to see him.
Of course, that's what he thinks. Yes, they are. Yes. Yes, Marv.
Yeah, when Draymond started doing the Hulk Hogan ear to,
I know.
hand to the ear so everyone can hear. All right, let me hear you guys.
And he has no problem being the bad guy. He'll be in WWE. If I'm at WWE, right, as soon as I can, a day off, Draymond, do you want to come in?